In the Resident Evil 2 remake, super spy Ada Wong chooses a very interesting sidearm to carry around in a citywide zombie outbreak. While many people may see this and think it's the more iconic Walther PPK, it is in fact a Mauser HSc. And not just any Mauser HSc, but a limited edition version called the American Eagle. I just so happen to have one here, so let's take a closer look at this unique little pistol. Welcome to the Raccoon City Gun Club. Called the Broom HC in the game, this weapon is described as being a 9mm handgun with a 9-shot capacity. It also goes on to say that it's one of a limited run of 5,000. It is through this description that we are able to find out that it's not just the standard Mauser HSc. The standard version of the gun was produced in Germany during World War II by the manufacturer Mauser, and was designed to compete with the popular Walther PPK. The HS designation stands for Hans Selbstspanner, or self-cocking hammer, and the C represents the third and final variation of the gun. This pistol was chambered in the 7.65mm cartridge, better known in the States as .32 ACP. Production of this pistol continued after the war ended, and we started seeing variants of the handgun that were chambered in .380, also called 9mm Kurz or 9mm short. This was especially true for HSCs that were made in the 1970s. In 1976 and 77, Mauser made their last run of HSc pistols in a batch of 5,000 that were specially marked with the Great Seal of the United States to celebrate the USA's bicentennial. It is my understanding that the first couple hundred of these pistols were chambered in .32 ACP and the remaining were in .380. They were also given an entirely separate serial number set, different from other HSCs that were produced. So I think it's safe to say that Ada is carrying an American Eagle HSc in .380 ACP. But is that really a good choice for someone to be carrying, especially in her line of work? For starters, it's small. It's not exactly what I'd call a pocket gun, but it can definitely be concealed with relative ease. For a spy type, that's a plus. There's a lot of argument in the gun hobby and self-defense world about the effectiveness of .380 as a defense round. People tend to think that .380 and especially .32 ACP are anemic cartridges that are little more than cap guns, but I wouldn't want to be staring down the business end when the trigger is pulled. The 7-round capacity leaves some to be desired, but it isn't the worst capacity ever for a smaller gun, even by today's standards. I pocket carry a Beretta Pico in .380 ACP when I'm taking a quick trip to the corner store, and its capacity is only 6+1. However, the Pico seemingly has something going for it that the .380 Mauser does not, and that is reliability. And I'm not going to try to perpetuate misinformation in this video, and I certainly can't give you first-hand experience, but a lot of testimony and videos that I've seen on .380 HSCs indicate that they have some inherent reliability issues. I've seen reports of feeding problems, ejection problems, and even severe failures like frame cracking. Something you don't want happening mid-zombie lunge. Supposedly, these issues came about due to the fact that the gun was originally designed around .32 ACP, and the change to .380 was done quickly and without much testing. Again, this is only what I've heard and not what I've experienced firsthand, probably because I've never fired this gun. Now, before you jump down my throat, hear me out. I bought this gun a couple years ago after RE2 came out. I managed to find one that was like brand new, had one owner, never fired, and it was a reasonable price. All of my research on the pistol tells me that the gun isn't exactly comfortable to shoot, and that, even if I did, it would likely be unreliable. So I made the decision to add it to my collection as just that, a collector's piece. It's a fun piece of history, and even though I doubt I would sell it, I could potentially pass it down and hopefully its value would only continue to increase. I know guns are tools meant to be used, but trust me on this, I have plenty of other tools to use. So instead of a range video for this one, I'll be showing you the box that came with the pistol and how to do a basic field strip. Alright, so here we have the paper sleeve that covers the box. It's a little beat up, but otherwise it's in pretty good condition. Here we have the Mauser logo and the Inner Arms logo. On the side, we have a handwritten serial number here. Mine is 596 of 5,000. And here's a 9K sticker that represents 9mm Kurz. Nothing else really. White bottom, open sides. So let's go ahead and slide this thing off. So underneath we have the actual box. It's got a nice custom little design on it. Here you got the American Eagle edition. They really stress the 1 of 5,000. And then of course they have the Great Seal on the side. That's also on the pistol. Alright, nothing else really special about this. So let's go ahead and open it up. Inside we have the pistol, of course, and a styrofoam cutout. There's also a cleaning brush and an extra mag. Up top, we have a few documents. We have the user's manual. Near the end of the user's manual, we have a pretty neat little diagram. It's kind of got a cutaway shot of the gun and an entire parts list. Next up, we have the original factory test shots. This is required for most guns before they leave the factory, just to ensure functionality. This one's a little bit yellowed, but otherwise it's in pretty good shape. And the only thing left is the warranty card. So to take it down, you're going to want to find this little takedown button that's inside the trigger guard. I usually use a pen or something to push down on it. Apply a little bit of forward pressure to the slide with your other hand, and when you push down on it, it should kind of slide forward, indicating that it's off. Alright, and then you can just pull it off like that and separate it. Let's set the frame to the side, and we'll take a look at taking the barrel out of the slide. So sometimes you can use your fingers, but I like to use the pen for this too, because it can be tricky. There you go. Release that tension, and the barrel comes right out. To put it back together is just reversing the process. So you go ahead and slide the spring right in where it was sitting, and just push the barrel back into place. Sometimes it needs to snap down a little bit, but it's pretty simple. Now, putting the slide back on can be a little tricky. So you just try to find where it kind of sat back on the rails. And the trick is to sort of balance the front and back end and not push so hard as I'm doing here. So I lift it up a little bit and it slides on. Perfect. And that's that. So that's it. It's pretty simple. This pistol is a neat one, but I don't know I'd be carrying this one in particular if I was in Ada's position. Granted, it took place in the 90s, but there were plenty of other more practical options back then. Though I suppose in a series where Leon rocks a VP-70 and police stations are outfitted with grenade launchers and Desert Eagles, I have to just sit back and be thankful that Capcom decided to make the weapons interesting and cool. That's all I have for today, guys. Thanks so much for tuning in, and if you enjoyed it or want to see more, consider liking or subscribing. Also, comment down below and tell me what you liked, what you disliked, or what else you want to see. Until next time.